The house was peaceful that afternoon, the kind of calm that comes only after the noise of the day has settled. Sunlight streamed through the curtains of the sitting room, leaving golden streaks across the polished wooden floor. The faint smell of dinner preparations drifted from the kitchen, where vegetables simmered gently on the stove. Emily, a 20-year-old young woman, sat on the sofa with a magazine spread across her lap. Her chestnut brown hair, tied loosely into a braid, brushed against her pale blue top as she leaned back with a sigh. She wore dark jeans and slippers, her casual clothes comfortable for a day spent at home. Though she flipped the pages idly, her mind was not on the glossy pictures. Instead, her eyes kept flicking toward the hallway, toward the drawer she knew well. The wooden drawer in the sideboard was where her father often placed money for household use. Sometimes it was for groceries, sometimes for unexpected needs, sometimes simply kept there out of habit. The thought had been in her mind for days. A little money of her own. Enough to buy something she wanted without asking. Something small, nothing that would hurt anyone. She told herself it was harmless, but the guilty thrill of the idea sent a nervous flutter through her stomach. Her father had retired to the study to rest. Her mother was busy in the kitchen, the sound of chopping faintly echoing through the hall. The drawer stood there in the quiet hallway, its wooden surface gleaming faintly in the light that it would be so easy, Emily thought. Just a little. No one will even notice. She placed the magazine aside, rising slowly as though her body moved on its own. Her bare feet padded across the floor, each step heavier than the last. Standing before the drawer, she hesitated, biting her lip. Her hand hovered over the handle. This is wrong, she whispered to herself, her conscience trying to drag her back. But temptation whispered louder, it's just money. Not stealing if it's from your own house. Her fingers curled around the handle, pulling it open inch by inch. The soft creak of wood made her heart skip. Inside, the folded stacks of notes lay neatly arranged. Her eyes darted down the hallway, then back to the drawer. With trembling fingers, she slid out a few notes and tucked them into her jeans pocket. She pushed the drawer closed, but in her rush, she left it slightly ajar. Too caught up in the thunder of her heartbeat, she didn't notice. She hurried back to the sofa, picking up her magazine as though nothing had happened. Her cheeks flushed, her hands shook faintly, but she told herself she had succeeded. Time passed quietly until late evening. Her father, a man of few words and quiet strength, stepped into the hallway to fetch something. His eyes landed on the drawer. It was not closed properly. Frowning, he pulled it open and quickly counted the money. A crease formed between his brows. Notes were missing. Mary, he called, his voice firm. Her mother, still in her apron, came from the kitchen. What is it? She asked, wiping her hands. Some money's gone, he said. It was here this morning. Now it's less. Her eyes narrowed slightly. She glanced toward the sitting room where Emily sat, pretending to read. Something about the stiffness in her daughter's posture made her mother's instincts stir. Leave this to me, she told her husband, that he nodded and returned to the study, trusting his wife's judgment. Mary entered the sitting room. She didn't speak at first, only stood there, watching. Emily flipped a page, her fingers fidgeting. Emily, her mother said at last. The girl froze slightly. Yes, mother, she replied, forcing a casual tone. Put the magazine down and look at me. Emily obeyed, setting the magazine aside. Her mother's gaze was steady, piercing. Money is missing from the drawer, Mary said, her voice calm, not raised. Do you know anything about it? Emily's throat tightened. Panic rose in her chest. And no. I don't, she said quickly, her eyes darting away. Mary stepped closer. Her presence seemed to fill the room. "Think carefully before you answer again," she warned. The drawer was left open. "You were in the hallway this afternoon. Do not add lies to wrongdoing." Emily's lips trembled. Shame and fear collided inside her. For a moment she wanted to hold to her denial, but her mother's eyes were unyielding. Her strength crumbled. I took it," she whispered, voice breaking. Mary's expression darkened with disappointment. "How much?" "Just a little," Emily admitted, her face burning. "I only wanted to buy something for myself. I thought it wouldn't matter." Mary exhaled, shaking her head. "It always matters. Stealing from your father, your own family, is no small thing. He works hard for us. And you thought so little of him, and of me, that you would sneak behind our backs?" Tears pricked at Emily's eyes. "I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking." "No," Mary corrected firmly, "you were thinking. But you chose wrongly. And now you will understand what those choices mean." Emily's eyes widened in alarm. "Mother, please. I'm 20 years old. You can't punish me like a child." Her mother didn't argue. She walked to the corner, pulled out a sturdy wooden chair, and placed it firmly in the center of the room. Sitting down, she pointed to the spot in front of her. "Come here." Emily shook her head, backing away a step. "No, please, I've learned my lesson. I'll never do it again." "You will learn it properly," Mary said. "You stole. You lied. You must face the consequences." Emily's legs felt like lead as she shuffled forward. Her mother took her wrist and, with controlled strength, guided her across her lap. "Mother." Emily gasped, her braid falling over her shoulder, her hands pressing against the floor for balance. "This is humiliating." "Better to be humiliated once," Mary replied firmly, "than to grow dishonest for life." She picked up the wooden paddle that leaned against the chair. And then the paddling began. The first swat landed with a sharp crack, jolting Emily's body. She yelped, gripping the chair leg tightly. "Mother, please," she cried, but the swats continued, each one measured, deliberate, echoing in the room. Emily squirmed and kicked, her jeans offering little comfort against the sting. Her cries grew higher, more desperate. "Why are you being punished?" her mother asked between swats. "Because I stole." Emily sobbed. "And why else?" "Because I lied." The paddling went on, steady and sure, until Emily's resistance melted into tears. Her pride shattered, leaving only remorse. At last, Mary set the paddle aside and rested her hand gently on her daughter's back. Emily rose unsteadily, her cheeks wet, her breathing uneven. She rubbed at her arms, unable to meet her mother's eyes. Her chest ached as much from shame as from the sting. "Emily," Mary said gently, rising to her feet. "Look at me." Reluctantly, Emily lifted her eyes. "You know why this had to happen," her mother said. Emily nodded quickly, choking back sobs. "Because I stole Father's money. Because I lied to you." "I know, Mother. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again." Mary's sternness softened. She placed her hands on her daughter's shoulders. "Discipline is not cruelty. It is love strong enough to correct. I could have ignored it, but then you would believe dishonesty is acceptable. That I will never allow." Tears spilled freely down Emily's face. Overcome, she threw her arms around her mother, clinging tightly. "I understand now. Thank you for correcting me. I promise I won't ever repeat it." Mary hugged her back, stroking her hair. That's what I wanted to hear. You've made a mistake, but mistakes can be forgiven when you face them. Later that evening, the family sat at the dinner table. Emily's eyes were still a little red, her expression subdued. Her father looked at her curiously but said nothing at first. Did your mother talk to you? He asked finally, his tone gentle. Yes, father, Emily replied quietly, her voice low. Anne. I've learned my lesson. He gave a small nod, his face softening. Good. Then nothing more needs to be said. The rest of the meal passed quietly, though Emily felt a heavy weight lifted from her heart. She had faced her mistake, endured the sting of correction, and been given the chance to start again that night. Lying in her bed, Emily stared at the ceiling, replaying the day in her mind. The shame was still fresh, but so was the clarity. Never again, she whispered into the darkness. The lesson would stay with her far longer than the sting, etched into her memory as a turning point, a painful but necessary step toward maturity.